Okay, today we're going to go over the eSign function in GoHighLevel or mybrokerpro. First, you're going to log into your account and you're going to head over to the button here called eSign. You'll see a lot of different folders up here, but you're going to go to Documents and Contracts. From here, you're going to hit the New button. You can create new documents. You can upload a PDF and add the signature boxes to it, or you can import from the template library. So we'll start with the new document first. The first thing you're going to do is name your document. This is a great way to make templates in the system so that you can use them over and over again. Then if you go to the left-hand side and click on the elements, you can add an image to add a header to your document for your business. You can add a video to explain something. You can add text here, tables, products list if you're selling something, or a page break. And then you can see here any of the fields that you can fill in. So signature fields, text fields, dynamic date fields, initials, and checkboxes. Bring it in, you can see it's got a heading and just a regular text box. When you click on this, on the right-hand side, you'll get the properties, so you can add some padding to the text and do a further customizations here. Next, just as an example, I'll add a video because I've seen lots of people add things like explaining what a commitment letter is, or the process, or in this case, a pre-approval, and it just makes your document a little bit more engaging. Then you'd add something like putting their name here. And then you can add a signature field just below it and move it around. And you can change the size and length. On this side, you can choose who the signature field is going to belong to. And you can change what the placeholder is, which is right here, signature. And if you select this, it will show the signer's name when you send it. On the left-hand side, you can add more recipients and set the signing out and set the signing order, and also add new clients here. You can see that I've already got one of the signers in here, but you can add a new client manually or search through your contacts. If there's more than one client in the eSign, you can set the signing order as well. The signer would show up below here, and you can drag and drop to select your signing order. Just beside elements, you can see the different pages if you want to make this document a little longer. Here you can see document variables, such as the signing dates, the document number, and sub-account name. So if this was your business number, this would change here. You can also add more variables here by clicking the plus button and adding things perhaps like mortgage amount, lender name, things like that. This content library is fairly new, but it's basically just some templates that you can use if you'd like. Here's the payment settings, which will likely not be used by most brokers, but if you're running any training sessions or things like that where you're going to collect a payment and you're making them sign a contract, you can use this feature here. Here you have some additional settings like overriding the email configurations. You can put a subject line for the document, the email template here. If you create one in your marketing email templates, you can select it from here or just use the default. And this is the email that the contact will get to sign the document, not this document, but within it we'll have a link to the document for them to sign. And then once they're done signing, you can enable a redirection to a custom URL as well, so that you can send them to a specific page on your website to say thank you or perhaps next steps. If you need to add an attachment to that document as well, you can do so here. Next to this draft, because it's not published yet, you can see the 3 dots. You can mark as completed, download the PDF, convert to a template, which will be handy if you want to use this over and over again. And you can add an expiry date if you need them to sign something by a certain date. The rest of the top header here will help you change the branding and look of your document. So you can change the fonts, you can change in bold and italic, change the format, and most importantly, custom values. Because if you use this in an automation, you can actually automate some of the contents within it to match that specific content. For example, any of the information we pull from Finmo, you can find in here and you can actually add it dynamically to this document. So if you wanted this to have the lender's name and the closing date and the mortgage amount, you can use these custom variables to pull in automatically through your automation when this document gets sent. This is what a custom value looks like. So by placing this here, if the lender was, for example, TD, then this would say TD Bank here. Now you can see this little bar here on the left-hand side. This depends on what you've clicked on for the property itself. So if I click on the video, you can see that the properties change. Now I can add a video URL, perhaps a YouTube link or a Loom video or something embedded from the system. You can change the background, the height, the width, the padding, all of that. So if you click on different elements here, will change so that you can adjust it accordingly. Then when you're happy with everything, be sure to hit save. And then always preview your document to make sure you're happy with the look and the format. Once you hit save, you can go back and look at your document now. Okay, from here, once you create your template from your document, you're going to want to hit publish so that you can use it. Then you'll hit generate links. And then this is something you can use, the link to send to anybody. So I've seen some people use this as a client commitment letter, pre-approval letter, all sorts of stuff. So now once you have the template, if you click here and go to templates, you'll see it here so that you can use it over and over and over again. You can click on the 3 dots, you can clone, share, or use the template. Next, we're going to upload a document. This would be handy if you already have a commitment letter or a gift letter that you need to get signed from your clients and you just don't want to use your other signing software or Finmo. You can use this one. The only lender that doesn't seem to like these documents at the moment is Scotiabank. You'll click here and you'll upload an existing PDF. I found this one from online, so I'll just upload this First National example. Once it loads, it will redirect you to the builder, which will look pretty similar to the last one, but instead of being blank, it will show the document that you've uploaded. And then all of the tools are exactly the same as we went through before, so you can navigate these as you want. And you can add your signing, your signature fields, wherever you need to, and initials. I know a lot of brokers who like to add initials on every single page at the bottom, so that's something you can do if you'd like. You can also add date fields as well so that you know which date it was signed. And if you needed to add another recipient, you can do so here by adding a new client and setting the signing order. Once you're done adding all the fields, at this point you would just hit send and send it to your client. If you have any errors, it will tell you before you proceed. Last, in this new section, you can also import from a template library. So if you click in here, you see lots of different templates that you can use. And of course, you can change the color and the fonts and the pictures in any of these. So typically when I say you're using a template, just look at the general aesthetics and the format of it, because everything else you can change. So if you're looking to create a client commitment package, something like this would look really nice. You will replace the copy with what you need to make sense for your specific client commitment. In here, you can see if you're waiting for documents that have been signed, if you were collecting payments, and anything you've archived that you're not using anymore. Next, you're going to want to make sure your settings are correct. If you need to CC anybody, you want to get a notification when the document's received. Again, you can see it's using a default template. If you click preview, you can view what it looks like, but you can go into this and customize it as you please. You can enable the SMS notification, an email when the document's done being signed. Again, another text message I would recommend because a lot of people are quicker to action through text message, and a document expiry warning. So you just need to toggle any of these ons to accommodate the settings you'd like. If you'd like your team to be notified, you can change these settings here. If you are using it for invoicing, and document settings, again, we talked about after they're done signing, if they're going to go to after they're done signing, if they're going to be redirected to a different page, expiry settings, and signing control. We'll allow the clients to draw their signatures or type them, but if you want a specific one for compliance, you can change that as well. Last but not least, how do you add a document to an automation so that it fires out every single time? I've seen some people do this for home insurance, consent forms, life insurance, pretty much anything, because you can add links in there. If you want to automate it, then you will go into the automation section here and you will create a workflow. In this case, you would start from scratch. Folder will open. have to think, when do you want this automated document to go out? So some people would add the stage change into the pre-approval stage in the live FinMo pipeline. However, you are risking that it goes out in the pre-approval, you haven't reviewed it yet, and you haven't had a chance to make sure it's good to go before talking to the client. So I would probably either add like a tag or something else where you're like manually in your brain doing something so that the document can be sent out. So in this case, I would just say to add a tag. So we'll go here, we'll do tag, and then you can click on this, and you can go, the tag added is pre-approval letter, and then add the new tag here and save your trigger. And then once you add that tag, you can decide to send the contract. So you can type in documents here, and then you can send this document or contract here. Now you can say who it's going to be from, what template you want to use, and you want to send it directly to the client. I'd probably suggest email and text message. So now when you add the tag, the document will be sent automatically. And remember, if you added custom variables, the document would automatically update on the values that you have in your little opportunity card at the contact level or the opportunity level. Once you're happy with the sequence of this, you can publish and hit save. Another thing I would recommend, unless you've adjusted your document settings, is making sure to notify yourself with an internal notification that the eSign document has been sent. So you can do this, send yourself an email, and then just write pre-approval letter submitted, and then put the cons. You can type out further information here if you need to as well, but that way, even though the automation triggered, you're also getting notified to make sure that you're aware that it happened. Next, you probably want to automate what happens after they sign a document. So you did work in your settings to make sure people were notified, but perhaps you want them to move over stages. Stages in our FinMo, we do have a signing package sent. So again, if you created this and added the tag, you could move the client over to this stage automatically by adding an action in after submitting that document to them. And then once they signed it, you could move them over to client accepted. Now to achieve something like that, now the trigger is the client signing the document. So you would change this to document. You would add a template that you were working on earlier. So the template is your and that the status of it is complete. Like they signed it. Now you know once they've signed the document, now what would you like to do? You can add in an internal notification here to let yourself know that it's been signed, but you can also do a stage change. But you can also update the opportunity so that it changes stages in your pipeline automatically. So you can do update opportunity to client accepted, and then you could move them into the live deals and choose the pipeline stage client accepted, and that way the person would move over automatically. So you can do this as well for things like insurance referrals or anything like that. Another great use case would be if you sent out the document for, let's just say, a life insurance referral and they never did sign the document. You could have this status be sent or viewed and then decide in branches what happens next. So if they viewed it, you can check in with them, 20 days, 30 days later. And if it was sent and never opened, you can send it again. You can really decide what based on. So again, a quick recap, you can head over to eSign, Documents and Contracts, create your templates. You can upload existing PDFs or choose from a library. You'll want to change up your settings here. And if you're brave enough, you can add some automations to your documents as well. See you next week.